Good afternoon, YouTube. I just wanted to go ahead and get back on here and talk some more about the work at home stuff that I am going to be sharing with you, and also doing a blog on that as well. So I did want to let you know what I'm not going to be discussing is any kind of eBay selling or affiliate selling, or things like that. So these are all legit, and when I say legit jobs, I mean legit that I've done it before jobs. And so just want to let you know that they are legit jobs. I had started out at a company called Teletech, and I had a friend that worked at Arise, that's ARISE.com. I will be sharing some links down below. Also, this is not an affiliate video or sponsored in any way, shape, or form. So I did want to let you know that. But I am going to be talking about Arise and then LiveOps as well as just a rundown of my history of work at home jobs. And so the Teletech company, what you did need to work from home with was a either a laptop or a desktop computer. I know I say too much, but we're working on that. And so want to preface with that as well. Another filler word as well. So needed a computer, of course. Most of the time they did require it to be hardwired. Back then, which was about 10 years ago, because my son is now 14, and I started Teletech when he was almost 2. And so they sent out this little CD that you would actually boot up your computer with and load that in. And then your work at home stuff would pop on the screen and give you your login screen. You would have your login names, and then you would pretty much just connect to their work at home system, and you would actually take phone calls. We took phone calls for Geek Squad back in the day. They were the Best Buy computer tech geeks. And so we would answer it, thank you for calling Best Buy, how may I direct your call, and transfer calls to whatever department they needed. So we did that at home. Back then, I think the pay was about $9-10 an hour, which wasn't bad because, like I said, that was 10 years ago. So you usually could work overtime. They did have designated shifts. You couldn't just log in whenever, though. You had certain days off, certain hours that you had to be there, and they were very particular about your start time. So you'd have to make sure that you're prepared to work at home several minutes before your actual start time. And then you would log in, and you would also have your designated break times. You would have a little chat room for help. That's how most of these companies do the help that you need, not for customers, but for you. They would have a chat room that you would just type in like a normal chat room, something like the old AOL chat rooms and stuff. And then you would go ahead and type your question in. They would tell you where to go to. Sometimes the double screens actually work better, so that way you could have your different resources on different screens. And then some of them had some templates that you would just copy paste to the customers depending upon what their needs were. The next work at home job that I had was VIP desk, and there we did different things for customers, and they were calling in usually the customer service for the credit cards and the points that we had to, and I will be cutting that part out. They were calling in for the different points on your credit cards to get points transferred into different accounts and get gift cards with and things like that. So they were very secure as well. Sorry, I had Ladybug over there. You would just be helping the customers, and once again, you did have a chat room that you could post your question in. And then at a certain point in time, after you've been with the company for a while, if you had travel certification, you could actually go and work their travel line. And that took a lot more training. And they also had a department that for the insurance on the credit cards of where to transfer to for different needs. And I also worked for very shortly the company that is actually over Hertz and Avis and the other rent-a-car company. I think it was Budget back then. There were 3 of them that you would actually work for, and you would take calls for. They had resources. They had very lengthy training, about 4 to 6 weeks They did pay a lot better. This was just a few years ago. They paid about $13.50 an hour, if I'm remembering correctly. Now that's got a lot to do with your background, your skills, and everything as well. So that they also had a resource that you would just type your question in pretty much, and then almost like their Google, you would type your question in it, the answer would be there. They had a chat room that you could verify to make sure that you were giving out the correct answer. And they would also, after training, you would be with kind of nesting for about a week or two to make sure that you were comfortable enough to be giving the customers all the information you needed to be. I also work for a cruise desk that you would book cruises, World Travel Holdings. I'll be including the links down below for you guys. And like I said, once again, this is not a sponsored video. I am just doing this so that people know that there are some legit hourly jobs available for you guys to be working at home for. None of this is selling. Well, you do sell the cruises, but people are calling in to buy the cruises. So it's not like you had to do the marketing. You're just working an hourly rate for the company. So while it is selling, you're still getting paid that hourly rate, which is where the majority of this video, the information that I'm providing for you guys, is going to be geared toward, is that hourly job rate. And some people may not like that. Some people may want to be able to make more, but these are legit jobs working at home that you get the hourly wage for. I also work for the Hyatt hotel company, which I loved working for Hyatt. That was wonderful because you got travel benefits. You could go and stay at any Hyatt. Some of them gave free nights. Some had employee discount nights. It just all depended upon that location, what they provided for the employees of the call center. So you didn't actually have to go to their home office back then. You could actually log in at home. It was like a webinar. You would log in and do the training for about 4 weeks. And at the end of each week, you actually had a live one-on-one test with the trainer to make sure that you knew enough information and be able to actually perform the actual request of the computer to move forward to the next week. If you couldn't, I do believe they gave you one more try, but you did have to at least have a minimum score just to make sure that you were prepared to continue learning more. And then I did work for, once again, Arise. I did work for Arise for a few different companies throughout my time frame there, because you can pick and choose your clients, they called them. And so one of the clients I liked a lot, especially in the beginning, was Carnival Cruise Lines, because they not only gave you a very good hourly wage for selling the cruise, they also went ahead and gave you a per booking incentive. They called it. Once a customer actually made payments on the cruise, they gave you that incentive money. And you got that all at one time, usually at the end of the month, so it's a very good check, because this was back about 7 years ago. Cruise industries always have done well and still doing very well. A lot of people love to cruise. A lot of people will only do a cruise vacation for the most part. And either you like to cruise or you don't. But I did enjoy selling the cruises. I've only been on one. But you do have the opportunity to go on more. And if you had the highest score during training, they actually gave you either a free cruise or I think it was about a $700 credit. And the person with the highest score in training got that. The training did consist of a lot of self-paced learning, but you did have to log in and you had to have it completed during a certain time frame, even though it was self-paced, because of course your training only lasted 4 weeks. And then you were taking calls, and while you're taking calls, they always have this chat room available for you to be able to post a question in if you're too lost. But they do expect you to be very familiar with all the knowledge they give. They have a knowledge-based search engine within their own system for you to use. And then also did AT&T for a short time. A lot of that stuff was kind of technical. Their training was decent. They did also have the chat room groups. It was very long training. You would train for about 4 weeks, and then you would be on the phones and training as well. They expected you to take about 4 hours of calls during the day and then about 2 hours of training time so that you could still begin to earn money while you're training. That's the thing about Arise. You do not get paid for the training. You do have to pay for the training. The trainings run anywhere from $40 to $100 on average, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. They also had clients like Disney, Now they have the Airbnb and Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble is one that you could do the chat room, and you could do the phone calls and the emails to the clients. So I like that a lot because that gave you more than one way to earn money. And then they also had other clients you could also choose from, and also a company called LiveOps, kind of like the same platform as Arise, but with LiveOps, they do usually a per minute rate, and they had other clients like Allstate Claims. You would be the one that they would be reporting the claim to in the most cases, and of course they did have chat rooms for you too, and you would just be taking the information and then providing it to the claims representative. And then they would contact the claims representative from that point forward. So that's a rundown of a good bit of the work at home jobs that I have had, and I'll be including more and more details in my blog. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button and like button, and leave your comments and questions and anything that you would like to see in the future below as well. And I will be working on getting this uploaded within the next day or two. So hopefully you'll be seeing this video go live maybe Tuesday. But I do want to go through and get that edited for you. And then I will also be working on my blog. As soon as I have a name, as soon as I put that live, I will give more details on my blog as well. Thank you guys for listening and going through this with me. And I will look forward to seeing you guys more on YouTube in the future. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.